on this computer. Let's see if that works. All right, and today I'm going to share my screen because we're going to go through some stuff. So let's share screen, share.
I'm going to go out and come back in.
All right, so right now we're just on Zoom. I'm going to ask you guys to mute yourselves for right now so there's not too much background noise. And then I'm going to get started. How is everybody today? We're all good, right? All good. Weather's finally starting to get nice, so that's a positive. How are we doing with the transition, right? I mean, it seems to be going smooth. It's slow, but sure, you know, it's happening. Everybody, if you did not send me your yes or no to your business cards, please do that immediately. I'm still waiting on 5 people. 2 of you are on this call, so you know who you are. All right. So let me know whether or not your business cards are okay to print. If for some reason you didn't see the email, contact me after the meeting and we'll go through it. All right, because I need those to be done. They're trying to print everything all at once, so there's no confusion. So also our yard signs are done. The generic yard signs are done. I sent out proofs to those of you that have customized yard signs. So you should have gotten those. I've heard from almost everybody on those. Working on riders now. So the next plan of attack, I believe, is going to be open house sign. But they want to get the large majority of this done first, right? Because otherwise it just gets too confusing. So anyone who has anything that they want replaced as far as marketing materials go, can start bringing it in next week. I think we'll start attacking open house signs, flags. I could do little things, like I have an agent who printed out 5,000 letters. So she didn't know we were going through the transition, so she brought in her box of letters and I'm gonna have those done. Small things like that I can do, but anything that we're gonna order in bulk, obviously is gonna be a little bit more difficult and it's gonna take a little bit of time. So I appreciate your patience with all of this. And if you guys have any questions, you know, just contact me. All right, so like I said, business cards, the majority of them have been proofed. I'm just waiting on 5 people's responses, yard signs and riders. The binders for, what do you call, for CMA presentations, you know, these binder book things where I ordered a bunch of soft covered ones. The order has been placed, so we should be getting that in the next 2 weeks. All right. If anyone does have to go on a listing presentation, that's not finalized, but I do have something you can use in the meantime. So just contact me and I will send you the information for the updated listing presentation that's branded with Coldwell Banker. We are official now, so no more Century 21 stuff. We shouldn't really be using any Century 21 stuff. I mean, we have, you know, folders, that kind of stuff. But as far as paperwork goes, if you are using old paperwork, one thing in particular we cannot use any longer, which I know a lot of people in this office use, is the seller service pledge. All right, you have to take that out if you have that when you're going on any listing presentations. I had the front desk take them out of any new packets that they made. All of our work should be rebranded through .loop. But if you're using old folders that you had on you, take the seller service pledge out. That is a Century 21 product. So we're trying to make something similar to use going forward, but that was a Century 21 thing, which is why there's 21 things that I'll commit to do, you know, in that form. So if you're going on new listing presentations in the coming week, make sure you take that out. All right, that is a Century 21 item. Okay. So we are officially Coldwell Banker. So one of the things I want to make sure you guys do, if you go into Stratus, you know, you should see that we are already Coldwell Banker. All right. So how you see that is you go to search member, look up your name. It should be the only Quiosi in here. And you see I'm now Coldwell Banker American Homes. All right. Now I've gone in and I've changed my settings. So you'll see my email and my website are now Coldwell Banker. If you didn't do that, it's not gonna look like that. So I gotta move you guys because you're kind of in the way. I don't know how to. Let me check. I'm gonna pick on somebody, sorry. June, I'm gonna pick on you, all right? So, and I'm gonna show you how to do this. So nobody panic. I'm not picking, I'm just using you as an example. All right, so you'll see her company has been changed to Coldwell Banker American Homes, but if I go in here, she still has her Century 21 email, okay? So we need to update that. How are you gonna do that is you go back to your info center. There's no good place to put you guys with this, sorry. Oh, there you go, you're down at the bottom now. Okay, so you go to the info center and all the way to the right where it has the one key MLS links, go to manage my account, education and events. If anyone is missing this, let me know. I'll walk you through it, come in person, I'll help you out. But I cannot do this for you because you have to do it logged in as you in one key, all right? So you go to info center, go to manage my account, education and events, okay? Kind of like when you go to pay your LIBOR bill, all right? You log in with your one key credentials. All right, and it's going to bring you to your profile. So here where it says your name and your information, I've changed mine already, so it's in there. But if you click edit and you go down here, the office gets changed automatically in the office information. But here's where you change your email address. So you would put it, just change the C21AM Homes to CBAM Homes. And you can put your web page, all right? Everybody's web page now, it's a little different. Should be first name, last name .cbamhomes.com, or it may be first initial, last name .cbamhomes.com. Just test it out to make sure, okay? If you're not sure what your website is, just go into an empty browser and type it out, okay? So mine is first name, last name .cbamhomes.com. If I was a smart person, I would go by a GoDaddy URL and get something nice and short so people don't have to try and spell my first and last name, but you'll see that's what my website is. So I'm trying to think. I think, Haida, you're on this call. You're jabreu.cbamhomes.com. For some reason, when they set you up in Hicksville, they use first initial last name. Some people are set up that way. So in Haida's example, hers is first initial last name .cbamhomes.com. All right. So you would just change that in your, I can't do anything today on this. Okay. You would just change that here. Anyone have any questions on that? Remember, you're muted. So if you do, you have to unmute yourself. Once you input the changes, just hit save. It may take 24 hours to hit the member site to see the changes. So don't panic if you do it and it doesn't show up 5 minutes later. Sometimes it has to go through whatever MLS's cycle is. Right? Any questions on that? Okay. All right. So did that CMA presentation, seller service pledge talked about. All right, the next thing I wanted to show you is CB Desk. Okay, CB Desk is the equivalent of 21 Online. Okay, so the way you get into it is you go to, I don't know where I am here, mycbdesk.com. All right, I'm going to log out of it and I'll go from the beginning so you can see it again. All right, so mycbdesk.com. All right, it's going to give you a login page. All right, now last week Chris had sent, and it's automatically logging me in, I'm sorry. Last week Chris had sent you your username and your password for this one, and trust me, I've like locked myself out a few times already because I keep forgetting. It's exactly like 21 Online, was your first name dot last name at Coldwell Banker spelled out.com. All right, so don't use your Century 21 or I'm sorry, your CBAM Homes email address here. That's what I was doing. I was getting confused. So my login is lorianne.quiozzi at coldwellbanker.com. All right. So Maria Becker, you're going to be maria.becker@coldwellbanker.com. Marietta, you're going to be marietta.gray@coldwellbanker.com. That is going to be your full login to get into CB Desk. All right. And then
Laurie, I don't have a password.
he sent a temporary password. If you can't find it, there's a forgot password link there that you can use. Unfortunately, It's not showing me the screen because I'm already logged in, so I can't start from the beginning. But just click on the forgot password link and it'll resend you, do a reset link. Now, unfortunately, this is the only bad thing, is the help desk is the same help desk that we use for Century 21. It's a Realogy help desk. So as we always used to kid, unfortunately, the not so helpful desk, that's when you have problems with it. It's the same desk. The one thing I will say though is I've used the chat box a couple of times, and they are pretty responsive. So I was able to get through on the chat feature. So I don't know if you guys can see it in the bottom right hand corner here. There's a chat box. You click on it and start typing. I'm going to close it because they'll automatically, you just put your information in and start the chat. And they get back to you, because I had an issue was trying to order, the note cards that we use at the front desk. And because we hadn't officially been switched over, they didn't have our DBA, so American Home Saver. Anything I got would only be Coldwell Banker. All right. So just make sure when you go into this, if you're going to order anything from Express Docs, that it says Coldwell Banker American Homes. Because if you call the help desk, they may see that you were Century 21 and be confused. Unfortunately, Elizette had an issue with that earlier last week, because we didn't realize that it was the same help desk. So know that it is, and make sure you specify if you call them for anything, you are Coldwell Banker. Okay. Okay, so here is CB Desk. Again, very similar to 21 Online. CBU Learning is the equivalent of Century 21 University. Now these tiles, when you first come on, these are your apps, okay? And you can move them around. So say there's something that you use more often than not, like, I don't know what this Spark is. So if I wanted to move List Track, if I want to move List Track up, I just drag it into the spot where I want it and it will go there. All right, so you can organize this so that your most commonly used apps are at the top. Okay. So CBU Learning, same thing as Century 21 University. You go in here, there's videos, there's webinars that you could attend, and so on and so forth. So self-paced learning courses, all of that. Just click on it and play around, and you'll see it's identical to Century 21 University. Okay. BrandServe is the equivalent of Business Builder. So we obviously have DeltaNet, and you have all your campaigns and everything in there, but there's a lot of information in here that you could play around with. All right, so that's pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to go into each one. You just kind of have to play around with it. All right, but again, it's like Century. This BrandServe is like Business Builder. Okay. Next thing is List Track. Now, List Track is the equivalent of Golden Ruler. Remember, Golden Ruler was the report. You could set your sellers up to see how many hits they were getting on all the websites that we advertised to. Mine is going to be blank because I have no listings. I'm supposed to be getting managerial access or admin access so I can see everybody's listings. But of course, now it's not coming up. It worked before, but because we're doing a class, of course, that's what's happening now. Oh, here it's open. So this is what it looks like, but obviously when you have listings, it'll be on here. So you can set up your seller to get a report on how many hits they're getting. You get the listing stats on which websites are getting most traction for your listings, okay? So that's something I suggest once you have listings in here, you should set all your homeowners up on, okay? Of course, this button keeps popping up, so I can't see what's going on. All right, Now, for the listing presentation, I know we're all going to squawk, but I need to learn this as well. Coldwell Banker agents currently use this Moxie Presents. So it's basically, you know how we used to print out our listing presentation, you take it in a folder? This is something that you can email to the homeowner ahead of time. So it's got all of the marketing items that we offer, and you put your CMA directly in it. So it's linked to one key, so you can pull comps and everything in there. And then it also has this other thing that I think is kind of cool, CBX Buyer Locator. So it tells the homeowners where their buyers are coming from. So like I pulled up, just for argument's sake, I pulled up Marietta's listing yesterday, and surprisingly enough, it said the buyers that are coming in, which, what is that listing, Marietta? 95 New Hyde Park Road, I think it is, right? New Hyde Park Road in Franklin Square. So this is something interesting. If you're going on a listing presentation, you could tell the homeowner, listen, I know where your buyers are going to be coming from based on analytics that our company uses. We can kind of target where the buyers are coming from. So in this case, it says the best, the top 10 buyer matches, Bethpage. Who would have ever thought Bethpage? I would have thought Queens or Brooklyn or whatever. But the best buyer profile, according to the analytics, is Bethpage. So I don't know, maybe there's an influx of people coming from Bethpage to this area. So this is a report that you could use, something we didn't have prior, that you could tell the homeowner, you know, I can, you know, kind of target to this area, and it'll help bring buyers to your home, all right? So it's just, I mean, I don't know all the talking points on this. As I learn more about these products, I will share it with you. I'm just letting you know it's here, and it's something that we can play with. So this gives the top 10. I mean, look at this. For that listing, number one, 87.5% match is Bethpage, would be most likely to buy within 12 months. 12.9% of buyers are willing to buy in this month. North Babylon, Hicksville, Farmingville, Holbrook, West Hempstead, Valley Stream, not one Queens or Brooklyn, which is surprising. So these are the top 10 locations that you would concentrate on to advertise for buyers for this listing, according to the analytics. Okay. And I mean, we talked to some of the managers from the Coldwell Banker side, and they said it's a very powerful tool and has helped them get listings in the past. All right. So those are just some of the apps that are available on the dashboard. I don't know all of them. Social Ad Engine, that's a Realogy product. We had that on in Century 21. It was kind of newer. I don't really know too much about it. You're not going to use their brand email because we have our own. So some of these things you will use, some of them we won't. Coldwell Banker's charity is St. Jude, where Century 21 was Easter Seals. Theirs is St. Jude. We still have our Heart of American Homes Foundation. So, but I'm assuming we're going to be doing some things towards the St. Jude side as well. All right. Now down the left-hand side, this is what's called the desk right here, what we're looking at. But there's other things that you can click on here. So you guys probably have been seeing, you've been getting emails lately with like news briefs, and you've been getting exclusive looks. It looks like the exclusive look is an email like you can put in if you have an exclusive listing, and it'll go out to all Coldwell Banker agents everywhere. All right. So that's something that we've been getting. I mean, I opened it up. It seems like it's all just New Jersey agents that are using it. I haven't really seen any in New York. I guess they do more exclusives there. But you could also send out your wants and needs on that as well. And I'll show you where that is in a minute. All right. So under the CB brands, these are a few different things that are in here. But one of the things I wanted to highlight is the Coldwell Banker store. Some people are talking about buying new shirts or whatever. Just check with me before you buy anything, because there's a chance that we're going to be buying stuff in bulk. Like I'm trying to get a mask order done. So we're going to buy those in bulk. So it's going to save you money if rather than you going to buy one and then, you know, somebody else goes and buys one. If we buy a whole bunch and get the offices together, we could probably get a discount. All right. So before you go purchasing thousands of things, just check with me to see if there's something in the works for that. All right. So that's the CV brand. Company. There's under here. Oh, that's where I was. I'm sorry. That was under company. marketing. So this is where the awards and production are, and I called yesterday. They don't have the 2021 awards criteria yet. So the criteria though for 2019, when you won an award in 2020, is right here. So we could assume it's going to be somewhat close to what it was. So their lowest, whereas in Century 21, Ruby was the lowest master's level award that you could get, and that for 2021 was 149,000. For 2020, and I'm assuming it's going to go up a little bit, their lowest is 120,000. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to get a Coldwell Banker Company Award. Now, the American Homes, Tom and Mike always do their awards. Like we had Gold Circle and we had Sapphire. They're going to continue to do those. I don't know what the criteria is yet. They're still working on it. But just know, we might have to, revamp your goals a little bit based on what these numbers are if you're shooting for a Coldwell Banker Award. All right. So the minimum is 120, but I would bump that up a little bit because they said hopefully in the next week or two, they'll have the 2021 awards criteria. All right. And then they go all the way up. All right. So you're worried about individual. Office is a little tougher. We're striving for 4 million now. Our goal for this year was 2 million, but in order to get a Coldwell Banker Award, we need to get at least 4 million, which is more than double our normal production. I definitely believe you guys can do that, and I hope we do it, but I think it's a little far-fetched for this year so far. So let's keep that in the back of our heads for next year. All right, so that is the awards criteria. Any questions so far on any of that? There's a whole bunch of other things in here, so just kind of click and play around with it and, get used to it. There are social media pieces on here that you can share. Of course, we have our own marketing committee, so we provide you with pieces to share at least twice a month. So, twice a week, if not more. So you have that already, but in BrandServe also say, we missed the holiday. You could go in there and see if there's something like we did May the 4th be with you instead of Cinco de Mayo. So some people went into BrandServe and there was a Cinco de Mayo piece and they shared it on Wednesday. So you could do that as well if you wanted to. Or DeltaNet again also has all of this stuff. All right. My business, there's not too much. I don't know what this RealSure is, so I'm not even going to go into that. Business Advantage, this is the companies that they affiliate with that you get discounts on. So same Century 21 had the, I think was C21 Perks or something like that. So this is just some of the things that you get discounts on. So again, with the cell phone, we used to get a discount as Century 21 agents. You get it being a Coldwell Banker agent as well. So if it's time to get a new phone, maybe check this first to make sure whether or not your plan is eligible. You need a new laptop, Dell has discounts. All right. So just go through here and you can see the different places that they affiliate with that you can possibly get a discount. Okay. All right. They also use Express Docs, like I said before. I think it's in the marketing. I'm not even exactly sure, but if you wanted to, you could just search here and it should bring it up. And there you go. And that's how you can go into it. All right. So if you can't find a link for something, always use the search bar. That's that. So you guys have any questions on all that? I went through it pretty quickly. Again, it's just something to play around with. And another tool that you have. Anything? No? Yes? No? Maybe so? Okay. All right. So that was CV Desk. I sent out an email earlier with the advertising guidelines. So if you guys are going to do any advertising or do any mailers or anything like that, just check the brand guidelines to make sure that you're using, the approved colors and fonts and all of that. And that's in there. They do use some weird fonts. So when I do email out the listing presentation that I have, they use a weird font that most computers don't have. So you're gonna have to download the font to your computer. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it does look nice. It does look cleaner and definitely much sharper. So it's definitely worth doing. If you have any problems, give me a call on that. Okay. Lastly, housekeeping. Unfortunately, I need to bring this up. Paperwork is a nightmare lately, especially with trying to juggle all this rebranding stuff and whose cards and proofs and everything else. Paperwork is falling through the cracks. So, please, when you take a listing, I need the paperwork within 24 hours. MLS hasn't started doing it yet, but they said that eventually they're going to go to, spot checking paperwork, and we're supposed to be uploading it into the system. I don't know when that's going live, but that was something that was supposed to happen before the pandemic. So being that they caught up on their fines, automatic fines so quickly, I'm assuming that's going to be next. All right, so we need your paperwork within 24 hours of you hitting submit on a listing. I need you to start the loop and load the paperwork. If you don't know how to load the paperwork or aren't doing the paperwork automatically on .loop, get your butt to the office and drop off the paperwork, or email me the paperwork, or the front desk the paperwork, okay? And we'll load it for you. But at the very least, you need to start the loop and you need to load the paperwork, and I need it within 24 hours, all right? It's kind of crazy because people are coming in, they're giving me closing checks, and I check the loop and half the paperwork is missing, all right? So I need your cooperation on that. The other thing is deal sheets. I need them completed. All right, you guys may think it's, not a big deal, but, when I'm trying to figure out and I have to put something, I'm helping you by, putting something into contract or closing something in MLS, the buyer's last name is an important thing, We also are continuing the Real Satisfied. So Tom and Mike have paid to use them as a third party. I don't have access to it yet. So just hold on to the email addresses. If you have them in the deal sheet, I've been putting them in when I close them. Hopefully it will go through, but make sure the emails are on the deal sheet because we will have a quality service award at the end of the year. I don't, again, know what the criteria is going to be, but just continue to get those email addresses. All right, but see, here's a perfect example of why you need their information. We're going through a rebranding, so we need to mail and or email these letters, and those are going to be going out on hopefully Monday because we're trying to coordinate it with the signs. We didn't want to send out the letter and then the signs don't get switched for a month. So we're trying to coordinate it within the week that we send the letter out and then the sign gets changed that week so that there's not a big gap, all right? So, but, the girls had to chase a lot of you down to get, homeowners' addresses or email addresses. It's very basic information that you should be giving us when you first give the listing. Again, remember, the brokers own those listings. While you guys are the contacts and you're responsible for getting us those listings, Mike Glitzner technically owns those. So God forbid something happens, and it has happened, where if something happens to you and I need to take over that listing, I need the information at my fingertips, all right? And the beauty of .loop is it's right there for you. And you know what, I don't have to wait for you to bring me a folder that you have at home, it should all be there. All right, so utilize the tools that you guys have at your fingertips. All right, so that's enough of me, being mama bear today. Sorry, but that's part of my job, is making sure that you guys do what you need to do. All right, it's all for your own good, right? Isn't that the saying? It's all for your own good. All right. Numbers were a little light again, but I mean, it's the second week of May. I'm predicting that's going to pick up. I read a really good article in Inman today. It's all about basics of prospecting, but how to build a good habit for prospecting. So I'm going to email that out to you guys. I don't think I did it yet. I meant to do it right before we started, but I will be sending that out to you. The weather is supposed to be beautiful this week. Yes, you can door knock. The only thing we still can't do is cold call. So if you're going to go door knock your farm, make it as a point of service. Like I said, give a pop by, maybe go to the dollar store or go to the garden center and buy a flat of those little flowers, wrap a ribbon around it with your card. Well, we don't have our card yet, but you can make a label, with the Coldwell Banker label on it, say, just thinking of you, hope you have a great spring. Let me know if you have any questions about the market. The market's hot right now, right? Just something simple. And a flat of those, you can get like 36 plants for $10 or something like that. So that's less than $1 a pop by. All right, it's beautiful. Get out there, talk to people. All right, we need business. All right. So that's all I had. Tim, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about today? It's been a while since we've seen you. You gotta unmute. Unmute yourself.
How about now?
You're good.
All right. So I wanted to ask you guys a question because I haven't heard anything about it. And Lori, I think your last meeting that I couldn't make, I was starting to get the feeling that, listings were popping up. At least in my neighborhood, I saw a few new ones start to pop up, like prices were getting high enough where people who weren't sure about selling were thinking, now I can sell because the prices are high enough. Has there been any change in the inventory out there, or is that still like everybody's big complaint?
Still pretty tight.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys talk to this, you're out there in the field better than I am, but I think it's still very tight. I mean, I looked up, I think Franklin Square, we have 30 something listings. Limbrook yesterday had 34 listings. So, those are the
Okay.
markets I usually watch, but it seems, same thing. You guys are seeing buyers are getting outbid left and right still, right? You guys can unmute yourself and talk. Nobody wants to?
And everything is still selling very fast.
Right.
Very.
Cindy, I didn't hear the first part. What was the first part?
Everything is selling so fast.
Okay. Yeah. I've had the experience with buyers. It seemed like every weekend buyers just kind of getting outbid. They increase their offer on Monday and then they lose it, by Tuesday. But I did get a couple of accepted offers this week, and so I guess that's just luck. Is if you go through it enough times, eventually even the blind squirrel's gonna get his nut. So I just wanted to find that out from you guys. Rates are kind of unchanged. There's a big debate out there as far as inflation is concerned. There are fears. Yellen came out and said it's not something that they're afraid of here in the short term. So I think, looks like for right now the party's going to continue. And I guess, hopefully these prices get high enough where people start to list their houses. As far as I'm concerned, I'm close. If my daughter wasn't in 10th grade, if she was in 12th grade, I'd probably be listing right now because of where the prices are. So that's something just to keep an eye on. That's really all I have. How are we doing with those mailers? Are we getting any interest? Are we going to keep pounding them, or?
Yeah, I submitted to Kathy for, we're gonna do a kind of the social media announcement. The one that you guys had done, we felt was a little too busy. So I just want a plain one. So I sent it to Kathy. She was sending it. I should be getting approved any day now.
All right,
So
cool.
I'll check with the agents in my office. Even if somebody wants to drop it, I had other agents that, all of a sudden turned around and said, oh, I didn't know we were doing that. I would have done that.
Right. So
So,
that's the thing. So when they sent that over to me, Laura, they said, this is for the manager, right? I had you on it and find out if any agents, want to send out the same. So as soon as you approve something, send it out. It's open to everybody, right?
Right. Yeah, I'll send it out to the other agents. I mean, I have the ones that are doing the Franklin Square mailers that we had already planned on doing that as our next month's mailer. So, but if anybody else, for anybody who's on this call that isn't part of the Franklin Square mailer, if you want to do an every door direct mailer for a mail route, Tim, and Freedom Mortgage have generously, they make the postcards for us. All right, you guys just have to pay for the postage and bring it to the post office. So
Right.
let me know if anybody's interested in that. Once I have a proof, I'll send it out to you guys and it's customized with your information on it.
Yeah, okay. And then just, as far as rates are concerned, rates are kind of been the same. Sony May just came out with their rates a little while ago. Achieve the Dream is at 2 3/4. If you want to take the down payment assistance with that, it bumps that rate to 3.125. So, I mean, that's a great rate to get free money from New York State. Does anybody have any questions like along those lines as far as the rates or markets concerned for me at all?
How's the processing going? Are you guys still backed up? I mean, what's the time
I don't,
from
it's,
contract to-
I just submitted, I just submitted, we're doing Blue Sky commitments and that's like 2 days. You know, and then it's, so when they do a Blue Sky commitment, when they do a Blue Sky commitment, it's without the appraisal. So normally you're waiting, you know, you process the loan while the appraisal's being done. And when the appraisal comes in, the loan goes to underwriting, you know? So for some of these purchases, because we were backed up, we're going right to underwriting with it, and the underwriter's conditioning for the appraisal. And then when the appraisal comes in, it goes back as far as the clearance review.
So are we looking like more on the 45-day or 60-day range for closing?
Closing?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, all I can really control is the commitment part of it. You know, if titles are taking a while, you know, there's nothing we can do about that. And the titles are still taking a while in a lot of these cases. And then there's a lot of other cases where, and you guys tell me if you're running into this, we'll push, you know, and because we're getting pushed by the attorney, we're getting pushed by the seller. You know, a lot of times, when do we close? Are you commitment? Is there a problem? What's the problem? Blah, blah, blah. We get them to close, and then the seller, that's when the seller like starts packing their bags, you know, once we have a clear to close, you know, which is that, if I can't tell you how many times that happens where we are pushing so hard, it seems like the sell side is pushing us to make sure we're clear. And then they're starting their kind of, okay, now I'm going to pack my bags and set up my move and set up, you know, whatever else I'm doing. This has happened over the past 2 months. I mean, just several times where you know, there's nothing you can really do about a seller, you know, not getting out on time, you know, whereas if on the buyer's end, they can lose their down payment, you know, so part of that is, you know, the fact we're in a complete seller's market right now, you know. Why? What have you been hearing? Have you been hearing anything like it's taken a while, or?
No, it just seems like we have a big backlog of stuff that isn't, you know, doesn't close as quickly as it used to close. But I know, like you said, there's title issues. It's not always the mortgage problem. We've
Right.
had a few issues with appraisals, so that seems to still be an issue. You know, where everybody gets caught up in these bidding wars and then the property's not appraising. So again, I'm going to stress to you guys that are working with sellers, you need to advise your sellers that that could be an issue and be prepared for that. You know, it all sounds good that a buyer says, all right, well, you know, you listed this for $650 and you got a buyer that's willing to pay $725. You need to be able to show the bank that it's worth $725. All right. And if not, be prepared, you know.
So,
that
yeah,
these are
so as
your
far as that's
options.
concerned, I just took a quick look through my pipeline. Just so you guys, one of the deals in my pipeline with Franklin Square, Clara, correct me if I'm wrong, did we just get a seller concession on Ojo's deal?
No, the seller is still not agreeing.
But we had enough, my point is we had enough room, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so I mean, that was one deal there, one Franklin Square deal there. The house came in high enough where we were able to, you know,
Elmont.
how much?
She said in Elmont,
Elmont's deal, not Franklin Square.
Well,
it's Franklin Square office. Yeah.
Franklin Square office.
Okay.
But it came in higher. We didn't ask for the seller concession going in. The appraiser just came back about 20,000 higher, and there was room there for a seller concession. Whether the seller agrees to that or not is a different story. My point is, I haven't really run into any problems with that. You know, maybe on a couple of refis, but nothing really on a purchase right now.
All right, good. All right, well, that's all I had today. Do you guys have anything, any listings, any open houses you want to talk about? I think Donovan's doing an open house. Sandy, you muted.
We're doing an open house on 218th Street in Cambria Heights tomorrow. Surprisingly enough, the last open house I did was a total bust. I had one agent come in today's market. So I know the price is way too high, but we'll do an open house there tomorrow from 1 to 3. And then I have to hit them on the head to lower the price.
There's no reason we shouldn't be
just not-
selling in this market.
No, they're just not agreeing, and they're fighting with the sellers are arguing with each other.
Well,
It's a
that's a
difficult,
different
very
circumstance.
difficult situation over there. Yeah. Fortunately, we have the listing for a year, so. No, I don't want it hanging around that long. I want to get rid of it.
Absolutely. And I think, Brianna, who's the other open house? Donovan's doing, yeah, Donovan's doing on his listing in Westbury, the co-op. When is he doing that? Saturday or Sunday? What time? Saturday, 12 to 2. So if you have anybody for a condo in Westbury, it's one of those ones on Post Avenue. Show them that. All right. You guys have anything for me? Anything else? Any questions? Any concerns? No? You're a talkative bunch today, huh?
Actually, I have a question, Lori.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
And I'm sorry if you've covered things like this before, but so products like RPR that are Century 21 branded for us, are we still using those or should we stop using those?
RPR is an MLS product, so now that we've been rebranded to Coldwell Banker, that should automatically rebrand for you. If not, then you have to go into whatever your settings or profile is and change it.
Okay, so any
RPR is actually a one key product, so it's not Century 21.
so any ancillary software, we should just be changing credentials ourselves.
Anything that you use, yeah. You know, email, obviously, we went over MLS today. Your social media needs to be changed. Anything that you know, have affiliated, you know, any, you know, sometimes it just, you know, you go to do something, you're like, oh, wow, that still says Century 21 on it. Like it's as simple as your phone message. Think about your outgoing voicemail on your cell phone. You know, a lot of people have, hi, this is Lori from Century 21 American Homes. Did you change that? We can't say that anymore. You're Coldwell Banker. All right. So, you know, make sure you have that. Like I can just want to stress is if your Century 21 email is out there. So if somebody does email your Century 21, it will still come to your CBAM Homes because they kept that as an alias. So it won't, it shouldn't get lost. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Anything? No? All right. So hopefully at our next meeting, I will have the full listing presentation that will go over. Like I said, if anybody has a CMA that they're going on in the next week or two, come see me. I'll give you what I have and we can brand it to you. And once I learn more about, you know, the new, because you have new products at your disposal. We need to know, you know, you can't go on a listing presentation and say we are the #1 Century 21 in New York State anymore. I don't know what we are as far as Coldwell Banker is. I tried to look at their rankings and it looked like Coldwell Banker Realty was #1 in GCI, but there were 5 different offices ranked that way. So I don't know how they figure it. So I'm hesitant to give you any kind of stats like that to use on your listing presentations till I know exactly what we're talking about. So we're still ironing out a few things because, you know, we have a lot of stuff as American Homes. They had some stuff as Coldwell Banker. We're trying to figure out what the best things are from both sides and merge it together to give you the most tools and, you know, the best leverage possible when you're out there. All right. So I just beg of you to hang tight and this will be nothing but a memory in a little while and you'll be pros at it. All right. So everybody have a great weekend and enjoy the beautiful weather and use it to your advantage. Go talk to some people, please. Okay.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay
Take care,
well.
everyone.
Bye now.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.